Welcome to the bold analysis. I have made recent political observation on two occasions. When the president was speaking in Nyandarua, he steered clear of blaming Uhuru Kenyatta and said he would not want to blame Uhuru Kenyatta. Then when the president was also speaking here in the joint media session over there on Sunday, he also said, I don't want to blame, I want to focus on the future and what I will do. I don't want to look at past. Even though I have the record, but I want to look at past. And I really welcomed that, because that is what us political observers have been insisting, that when you're so much stuck in the past, you may be seen as a man who is just taking an escapist narrative and does not want to face the reality, or doesn't want to face his battles coming. But there is some, and on that, probably one of the reasons why William Ruto decided that it's enough of Uhuru did this, Uhuru did that, is because first it had reached a plague, and Kenyans were not bothered. When Uhuru Kenyatta has taken a tactical retreat, is not in the limelight. Even these people, the Jubilee Party squabbles that goes on, I look at them, they're just provocations to bring him in the limelight. So he's realized that when you talk about him and he's not there, who really cares? People don't want to know, people want the solution. And there is some emotional appeal that is now coming, especially among the youth, on, was Uhuru better? The question have started coming. Was Uhuru better than William Ruto? And William Ruto themselves started comparing. I remember bloggers saying, comparing when Unga was, even the political class are comparing, when Unga was 230, when Uhuru Kenyatta time, we have reduced it to 170. I don't know when was that, the price was up during Uhuru Kenyatta. There have been Uhuru versus Ruto contest, especially in terms of the policies. But that trap has come, and there is a hilarious video of a lady begging Uhuru to come and help Kenyans and saying that things are not bearable.
Uhuru Kenyatta uko wapi, uone vile tunateseka. Ruto Musalia na Gachagua wanaona Kenya ambia Raila atete wananchi ambia Raila atete.
Now that's a very hilarious skit. It's I know it's for fun, but it's a very powerful tool. It's also a tool of communication. It was shared in TikTok. By then, that video has been trending for better part of Thursday. That such skits should worry the current crop of political leadership. Why? We have a majority of young people who are in the social spaces, and that is the biggest population that you expect to vote for you next year's general election, and they're the ones that are going to social media to vent their frustrations. That lady has made that video in a very humorous manner, in humor, using some humor, but in real sense she's speaking about the reality. So even after laughing, at the end of the day, when you will laugh at the moment, but emotionally, with emotional packaging, but she's actually saying the truth. And the message is sinking. We have millennials are in the social spaces. The youth of this country are the most, they're the most angry for the jobs. As we talk, the creativity industry is also being hit by a 15% tax. Unemployment question that was to be solved, it was to help these young people. And I want to say this. Things have started changing. And 2 weeks ago, Murang'a Women Rep, Betty Maina, who was Uhuru Kenyatta blogger, by the way, was attending an event in Murang'a and told Kanini Kege and Sabini Chege. I shared that video in this podcast. For those who follow The Bold, I analyzed that video here. And he told Kanini Kege and Sabina Chege that we supported you when you wanted to go to Yala. And now what you're doing in Jubilee is showing disrespect to Uhuru Kenyatta, and you need to respect Uhuru Kenyatta. Which was a change of tone, you know, a bit of unexpected. But then you can see now people are trying to say, fine, it's not just about being in conformity. There is also a caucus that has said from the mountain that the housing fund that President Ruto is forcing down people's throat should not be made mandatory. It should be voluntary. With also the position of 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote coming, the diagonals are being drawn because majority, according to sources, those who are in the executive do not buy it. And quite a number, ironically, even those who are supposed to benefit are not buying it because it was Uhuru Kenyatta's voice. I got the Vox Pops. I listened to these Vox Pops. This Vox Pops is just voice of the people. They were taken in Kiambu. Look at the way these guys are crying and their voices. And people are saying, Eri ile Uhuru time, you need to get that sound bite here.
Naye tajiri amevunjwa kwa upande wa mafuta. Ukiangalia mafuta yote ya gari mpaka ya kupikia, bei yote iko juu. Hata mama mboga saizi ameshindwa kuingia kwa shamba kununua mboga juu pia yeye hana pesa. Sasa hii serikali yetu tunaona kama ni mwanzo. Tungeomba rais wetu afanye kama Uhuru alipokuwa anafanya. Juu wakati wa Uhuru tulikuwa tunaona mafuta inapanda, serikali inalipia kila mtu shilingi 20 kwa kila lita. Mafuta ya chakula vile vile, shule vile vile. Saa hizi ni kama ng'ombe imekamuliwa na mikono, imeisha mafuta, imekamuliwa na price, imeisha mafuta, sasa inafungwa na faiz, ile kitu ya kushikanisha chuma. Hii ng'ombe, na ng'ombe ni Wanjiko, ameisha kabisa.
Mafuta ikawa juu zaidi kuliko ile biashara tunafanya, kwa maana Wanjiko hana kitu yote ya mfuko kama shilingi imekosa kabisa. Juu koti iko juu zaidi. Tunalilia serikali iangalie mambo ya koti ndio uchumi rudi tuweze kulipa hizo koti, kwa maana hata biashara yote imerara. Ukiangalia hali ya kubeba kwa matatu, kubeba kwa gari dogo imekuwa chini sana ya mambo zote, kwa vile uchumi ya mafuta imekuwa juu zaidi, na sasa sisi hatuwezi hata hiyo koti tunashindwa. Tunalilia serikali kwa vile mambo iko juu zaidi iangalie mambo ya mwananchi wa kawaida, kwa maana tulichagua serikali yetu na kupenda kubwa, na saa hii
those sound bites are telling you what the way people are complaining. And by the way, those are people from Uhuru Kenyatta's village. Yeah. Now I can tell you something. What is the resultant effect with this dangerous voice that is sweeping Heri Uhuru? The voice of Heri Uhuru is one that is very dangerous. And I want to tell you it's very dangerous for this regime now. Because the resultant effect here is when people don't feel like you are not doing what you've done, what you promised, and people feel like Heri Uhuru, one of the things that can happen is the mountain can experience political withdrawal. Or rather, the population, you can experience mass political withdrawal. And I can tell you that what that will happen is that those who are eyeing the biggest part of our supporters, the support base will be deflated. Voter apathy. Because people will not see relevance in the political leadership. Instead of going to vote, and I know there are quite a number that also says that instead of going to vote, let me just go and do my business. Let me just go and tell my land. Let me just go and do my things. When the comparison is made between Uhuru and Ruto, and those people feel Uhuru is better, people are going to withdraw. And that withdrawal is not, mass political withdrawal is not only going to affect the election at maybe that is coming. You know, even tax needs patriotism. Yes? Tax, there is one thing that is not said about tax. You need, it's a patriotism gesture, you know. And so when that is lacking, the good Kenyans will find very murky corners, will be taking very murky corners to avoid paying tax. Because again, what is the essence of paying the huge tax that we are paying if the services do not match the taxes that are being collected? So that mass political withdrawal. And if you want to know this, the other things that will also signal mass political withdrawal is people not attending presidential functions like the Madaraka Day, the Labor Day, and those celebrations. You will realize that since the first one that was on 20th October, I think that was Mashujaa Day, then the one for December, it had to take the president to mobilize people to attend. Even Labor Day recently. Labor Day, there was a clip of a lady crying and saying, oh, I should get that clip for you. A lady saying that they have to be paid to attend. Maybe, I think you should get that. Here.
Mimi nazatoka hapa nikasalimia Ruto bila hata shilingi. Nilikuwa naenda kutafuta pesa kitu ya kwanza. Tumefika hapo tunakuja hapo tunaambiwa hakuna pesa. Watu wa mbali ndio wamelipwa. Sisi watu wa Rube tunabebangwaje? Sisi tubebwaje sisi? Mimi mwenyewe niko na mimba nasikia njaa. Tuko tu inwana hapo unaona. Sijakula hata bob. Mtoto ndio na hiyo baridi yote.
Yes, that was a lady who attended the event in Kasarani. Not Kasarani, I think Nyayo. I remember Jamhuri Day, people had to be promised some fake degrees that when you leave, you're going to leave with, I don't know, a course or a degree, a fully paid course. And people flocked Nyayo looking for that. It was never that. So you look the way things have been. And now Madaraka Day is going to be in Embu. I think I'll try to reach there so that I make my good political observations. You will actually agree with me that mass political withdrawal can affect the country. The other second thing here is those who are eyeing seats in the mountain are continuing to plant and to weed Uhuru hate narratives there. Uhuru is bad. The milk, remember, you know, the milkman connotations, the tea man and the coffee and the milkman connotations. Those are connotations that are being used to still profile Uhuru Kenyatta as persona non grata. But that also can only thrive if you are doing good. People will only buy your concept of the milkman if yourself, people are feeling like with your administrations, things are better. So when things are not happening and people are saying, Heri Uhuru, those who are planning to plant that venom, that project is going to backfire. It has a very huge potential of it backfiring. So Uhuru hate strategy may never work. Now, there is also hype of belonging to the government. This is why, and I can tell you, the reason why Rigathi, when he goes to the mountain, tell the mountain people that what we've been given, we are entitled to because we voted for this government and we get it, we deserve it. That statement is normally meant to create a sense of belonging. You know, that we want the people to feel like this is our government. Now that type of sense of belonging will be deflated. And it will be deflated because I'm simply saying you are not the best. At least Uhuru Kenyatta. So that euphoria of Heri Uhuru is one that will be, and I can tell you, when people do t-shirts and say Heri Uhuru, you know, and it gets, the mobilization is done, the imaging is done, it's a big headache. And when that sense of belonging to government deflates, it will give chance for alternative voices away from that of the Gadi to thrive. Now I'm speaking about the likes of Maina Njenga, the Jeremiah Kioni, the Raila Odinga team. It will the former now Murang'a governor, yes, Mwangi wa area. Those voices will sprout because there's no point of consolidation. The hype of belonging to the government, you know, and that is why I think that those who say, the strategy that said that Mwangi wa area should insist on that question of shareholding, I think that was a very good strategy. The person who came up with that was very right, because that is one of the challenges that has been going on. Now, show interest. You know, the interest of, people are supposed to show interest of the hustler promise. When that hustler promise is not there, William Ruto will lose his position, and even with regard, he will lose his position as the chief hustler. When the hustler feels like you've not done for him and it's better go to Uhuru, and remember yourself, the hustler, you had called Uhuru Kenyatta a dynasty, so probably if you can't deliver, you also lose that tag. And that is why I don't believe President Ruto will use the tag hustler in the next general election. It will not be there because, again, of course, the burden of incumbency is already now a king. So it's not very easy now to start calling yourself a hustler. But that is my take, guys. I want to also read your feedback. What do you think about this kind of euphoria that is now coming up from the mountain? That's my take, and let's meet tomorrow.